pushing out as soon as they get in.
That, and it looks like just a white sheet hanging out.
Deepest compound that you can see is right at the base of it.
Yeah.
It's got that white
I got the guy in black moving on the right side of it right now.
We're trying to get better in life. Observe atmospherics around the area. See where we have like women, children, middle-aged males stepping out.
Hey, right now I want you to walk the line real quick. There may be a suicide vest. It's my guess, but there may be a suicide vest. Nobody comes near us, all right? They're just saying there's a guy hiding, and when he's found, he'll be ready. What does that sound like?
Yeah.
Okay.
1,200 meters, and we got a turkey peeker in that compound.
That is TRP 5.
Yeah, guns here.
I got pretty good eyes on 6 and 7.
Yeah, 6 and 7, 3 and 4, 5. You can really see those. You can see it.
I'm gonna sweep out those spots and I'll take it. I'm gonna run back, grab everybody. So we displaced, moved up, found a better security position. All right, so we're just looking, still with our new position, checking out atmospherics in the area. We've got a lot of women and children out here to the east. We did a show of force using those HIMARS on the mountain range because the ICOM chatter is coming over and saying that the work is done, which is what we found when we come out here to mean that they're set up and ready, and then they'll say begin the work. That's when they'll attack us. So they said they have us surrounded on 3 sides right now, and from the ICOM chatter there's actually quite a few of the enemy out there. So we'll see if they want to do anything or not. But we're setting up, just finishing up, setting up, and waiting for them to make the next move. SALT support have cleared out the town. They're just going back through, enrolling males into our biometric system we have. And other than that, we're pretty much set up. Wait till set up for our displacement time and move to extraction. 2-4. Right now I'm waiting on Security West to move up. Headquarters is moving, Security West should follow in place.
What route do you want to take?
That's what I'm going to call Burke about. See what he wants, what he's seen, what the best route will be to get to 3.
Come out between 6 and 8. They definitely didn't take the road all the way around the outside because they had compounds.
No, I don't think they did.
Approximate distance about 400 meters offset from us. That second compound is the one that the snipers were saying they were shooting from.
We went on as basically a security patrol to where we were looking for a possible enemy blocking position. If another patrol was supposed to take contact from the north, we were looking to set up an enemy egress route, blocking position to the southeast side of them. Looking at the Wadi as a possible travel route that they'd be going through as an egress to hit a certain line that goes into another area of operations. Basically, when we got out there, though, we looked for a good position to set up in, and as we were moving to find a position that we wanted to set up in, we ended up getting hit by an improvised explosive device. Following hitting the improvised explosive device, we ended up dismounting to do normal sweeps for possible secondaries. The vehicles were moved forward a little bit of where the actual IED was. Didn't really do any damage to the truck or anything to the personnel inside. But as we were dismounted, we started taking small arms fire and sniper fire from our east and southeast sides from one of the compounds to us, a couple hundred meters off.
Hey, where at? Where at?
Where do you stand?
Hey, where?
That compound right over there.
Yeah?
There's a guy with an AK.
Where? Can't tell where from it?
Marvin,
Not now. Anger Main, this is Anger 5.
We ended up having another patrol come down south from us. They started sweeping from the south to the southeast side of us, clearing all the other compounds as we were holding the cordon off on the IED. Once EOD finally got out there, it was already past dark. We had to switch to our thermals and using the night vision goggles and everything just to make sure that we were still maintaining that good security on our vehicles and the cordon. As EOD got in everything, they ended up checking out the IED spot, finding out it was only a partial blast and that it was ended up being an 80-pound explosive at maybe only 15 pounds that ended up exploding. They ended up detonating what was left of it, and at that point we linked up with the Quick Reaction Force and ended up making our way back to Camp Leatherneck.
Marines with Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, start their day with the patrol through their new area of operations.
Today we had a local security patrol in the vicinity of PB Boldak to go out, do human terrain mapping with local populace, put a face to the Marines that are here, and go around, provided some aid to some local populace with injuries, and just got a feel for the AO.
It's the beginning of the deployment, and the Marines are finding that there's many changes in Afghanistan for those who have deployed before.
As an infantry Marine, as of right now in Afghanistan, this isn't what a lot of Marines signing up 5-8 years ago thought they were joining to do. Things have changed a lot since Iraq and early Afghanistan. It's the whole operations in Afghanistan have changed a lot, from a lot of firefights to now more of a police helping the people, really tightening down, having to really work a lot harder. The change in the environment and the change since the beginning of the war to the end of the war, now that we're pulling out, I really do believe it has had a big impact on Marines and themselves and how they're going to follow themselves in the future, how they're going to train Marines now. I believe they're more well-rounded. They're not just stuck within firefights and the thoughts of going out to close with and destroy the enemy. Now it's more so they're so much more well-rounded with TSE, tactical site exploitation, having to go in and search, put 1+1, figuring out, is this the person who we're looking for, since the enemy's trying to evade us rather than actually stand against us. For the future of Charlie Company in our area of operation, I believe we'll do a lot of good things. We'll set the standard. We'll break anything that in the past any other battalion or say any other company in the area, whatever they've done, Charlie Company will come out there and we'll have the right face to gain trust with that local populace, show them that we're there for the right reasons, and we'll set the right environment for them.
The Marines and sailors of Regimental Combat Team 6 and its subordinate battalions have been conducting Operation Jaws in the Helmand Province for 3 months.
I would describe Operation Jaws as Regimental Combat Team 6's bid for success in AO Tripoli, the area of responsibility that we have in northern Helmand Province of Afghanistan. Out in Washir, we don't really have enough people to garrison that full time, so it's a major safe haven for the Taliban. So we directed an operation, wrote up an operational plan to go after the insurgent network that was hiding out in the Gestan Valley of Washir.
Major Jonathan O'Gorman was tasked with executing the most recent phase of the operation, where Marines with Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, cleared several villages of insurgents in the Gestan Valley in northern Helmand.
The Taliban are still talking about the things we did up there and demanding that some of their commanders, who now they see as incompetent, get fired because they either fled the battle or didn't give them good enough advice. And the amount of insurgents that were killed was a huge morale blow to the insurgents that were left behind. So I would say it was a pretty big success.
The execution of an operation is no easy feat. Major O'Gorman had to manage more than 1,000 people in multiple units and different sections to ensure the success of the mission.
What we did from each section of the regiment, between admin, intel, operations, logistics, and communications, we pulled a lieutenant out of there with me in overall charge of it, and had to get up there a couple days early and kind of train to figure out how to be a battalion-like configuration.
Although most of the Marines were pulled from within RCT-6, due to the size of the unit, they rarely interacted with each other.
They don't communicate with one another on a daily basis, and whatever interactions they do have doesn't involve fighting companies in the attack, certainly.
Once the Marines started working together in the Combat Operations Center, they immediately went to work practicing efficient unit-to-unit communication in order to better control the mission.
We got them up there, and we had to just basically kind of drill guys through the whole concept of taking an intelligence report, announcing it in the COC, what that would mean operationally or fires-wise, and what actions that particular, be it lieutenant or communications guy, was responsible for doing to be able to have information flow inside the COC, and then continue the attack.
With all the planning that goes into operations, the Marines and sailors under the command of RCT-6 can operate with the knowledge that they are in good hands. Corporal Ed Gallo, Forward Operating Base, Dalaram 2, Afghanistan. The Marines and sailors of Regimental Combat Team 6 and its subordinate battalions have been conducting Operation Jaws in the Helmand Province for 3 months.
I would describe Operation Jaws as Regimental Combat Team 6's bid for success in AO Tripoli, the area of responsibility that we have in northern Helmand Province of Afghanistan. Out in Washir, we don't really have enough people to garrison that full time, so it's a major safe haven for the Taliban.
Major Jonathan O'Gorman was tasked with executing the most recent phase of the operation, where Marines with Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Marine Regiment, cleared several villages of insurgents in the Gestan Valley in northern Helmand.
The Taliban are still talking about the things we did up there and demanding that some of their commanders, who now they see as incompetent, get fired because they either fled the battle or didn't give them good enough advice. And the amount of insurgents that were killed was a huge morale blow to the insurgents that were left behind. So I would say it was a pretty big success.
The execution of an operation is no easy feat. Major O'Gorman had to manage more than 1,000 people in multiple units and different sections to ensure the success of the mission.
What we did from each section of the regiment, between admin, intel, operations, logistics, and communications, we pulled a lieutenant out of there with me in overall charge of it, and had to get up there a couple days early and kind of train to figure out how to be a battalion-like configuration.
Once the Marines started working together in the Combat Operations Center, they immediately went to work practicing efficient unit-to-unit communication in order to better control the mission. Corporal Ed Gallo, Forward Operating Base, Dalaram 2, Afghanistan.
Sound right over here.
Us shooting is someone shooting at.
I couldn't tell. That was. Anybody that started that?
Yeah, good, good.
Going right overhead.
I'll be right back. Roger, break, Roger, 5-6, 5-6, did, target individual, stop that thing, contact.
Parrish, what we got him? Parrish. Yep. Anybody search that building?
Wait.
Yeah, I just pulled
Wait, the one these guys came out of?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and camera guy searched it.
Stop bomb.
when we came into Helmand, I think the enemy thought that they were going to let us in here to some degree, and then they were going to hammer us with IEDs, with an inability to win over the local population, and with an inability to get anything done. Operation Spear Gun was our battalion's piece of a regimental-sized operation. It was a helo inserted interdiction operation. We set out to get into the enemy's safe haven, stop him from doing what he was doing, force him to either defend or withdraw, and thereby, again, disrupt his ability to continue to plan actions against us and keep him on the defense. And it's starting to look the opposite way, and I think even for diehard guys, it's becoming pretty obvious that their only hope is that we just quit pushing. We did it with the Afghans in the lead. We had 3 different Afghan units. We had the NIU. We also had what we call the Tiger teams. They are Afghan National Army soldiers that are specially trained with British SAS and SBS guys, Royal Marines. And of course, we had a squad of Afghan National Army helping us out, getting into the mix. And all 3 units performed very, very well. If you get in a firefight with the Taliban, these guys are next to you. But pretty much everywhere we've decided to push into, we've gone into it, and we've been able to have our way. And most importantly, pretty clearly life is getting better for the people who live there. So this whole idea that they get a better product to sell than we do and Geroa does is pretty clearly not true, and it's pretty fundamentally manifest. You go into these towns and villages, people are happy. I mean, they've got problems like anybody else does, but life is generally better than it was under the Taliban, and that's kind of hard to spin.
Roger, I copy you. We're tracking on those civilians there, right?
Roger, you listen to that? Grab my binoculars. Dang! Oh, you already got it?
Roger.
This is a dude standing there watching. Observer.
North of the bazaar.
Yeah, don't.
No, hold off.
No.
Hey, we're trying to position guns down south. Try and get eyes on where we're.
Roger, solid copy. Be advised, we have friendlies up in the bazaar to the north, break. And ATF 444 is down to the south, break.
What? Working up the game plan 9 line right now. I guess some.
Let's go! Move! I think you're parking that compound right there. Huh? I think who's it? Who is that? Huh? All right, let's go! Oh.
Building 6-8, the Juliet 8, Romeo 6.
Let's go! What?
Go down the wall, go down the wall. Let's go. Keep moving, keep moving. Here we go. Let's go. Go, go, keep going down the wall, come on. Push it. Hey, this way, this way. go with something. Hey, get the fuck out, man.
Run over, look over the wall. About 200, 250 meters max.
Hey, if he goes back in there, get down.
So watch out.
That didn't make a small crack on there.
Roger, shot, copy.
Hey, watch your muzzle.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, the guys.
Let's go.
Watch out.
We ready to go?
Done. Watch out.
Done.
Watch out. No, shoot it. Whoa, watch his head. Watch that dude's fucking head. I got it. Steady! Guy in the field to the left. Hey, they're moving to that compound right there, right now.
So obviously the mission that day was to disrupt the enemy within that area. It's obviously outside of our AO. So we did a partnered helo-borne raid. So once we hit the deck, obviously it was still dark. We started to make movement to the north. The Afghan partners in the lead kind of pushed up, started talking to some people. It started to get a little bit light out. We established our security perimeter with machine guns, snipers, as well as mortars. And then we pushed our assault element from compound to compound. The atmospherics in the area at that time, there's a lot of motorbikes driving around along the peripheries, as there usually is prior to an attack. So a lot of movement. Air was reporting what was going on around us. Some families, women, children started to kind of flee the area. Once we started to cross this big open muddy field, about halfway through, that's when, again, they opened up on us with machine gun fire from a couple different compounds. So at that point, the security element started to suppress to allow them to run to cover. During initial contact, I was in the middle of that field with the assault element, so I got pinned down for a second, and then we made the call. Once we had some good suppression from machine guns as well as snipers, they had positive identification on several enemy fighters around us. So once they started to engage those targets, to alleviate a little bit of pressure off of us, and we were able to kind of bound back to a compound for some cover. I mean, we got the vibe right off the bat that we were going to get hit, so everyone's head was on a swivel. And then when it happened, of course, you don't know where it's going to come from, and at that point it came from about 3 or 4 different locations, pretty accurate rounds. That's when that one Marine got struck in his Kevlar when we were in that field, so they pinpointed us pretty good. So it's instincts just kick in at that point. For all the Marines, they did exactly what they were trained to do. As we're taking contact, I just want to make sure that everything's in place to help those guys out. Obviously, I was pinned down there, so couldn't do too much to assist myself as well as them, but the Marines who were in those security positions already knew what they had to do, and they immediately reacted to engage the enemy to alleviate that pressure off us so we could bound back. Once bounded back, I was able to start to battle track my elements. Had 6 different elements moving all over the battlefield, just making sure I had positive communication with all of them over the radio or connecting files so we could keep those Marines safe who were in the open. The Marines are amazing. I mean, once we took contact, they immediately snapped to and did what they were supposed to do. Like I said, one Marine got shot in the Kevlar. Rounds were bouncing off guys' protective armor. And then, of course, that one Marine got struck, and we took a casualty. At that point, they immediately responded with what they were supposed to do. Marines ran out into the open, dragged him to safety while other ones were suppressing. Immediately given a quick task. Guys were already sweeping the LZ, providing first aid, and then getting that casualty ready for extract. So they made my job easy because they knew exactly what they needed to do. Definitely a big difference with the helo piece and the amount of guys we have on the deck, for Afghans as well as Marine forces. So once we land, we definitely have the element of surprise right off the bat, but obviously eventually everyone's going to wake up and start to mass around our position, and we don't have those vehicles to provide that cover. So kind of moving from compound to compound, we expose ourselves to a pretty good amount of risk every single time. So we don't have that cover that the vehicles would provide. It does give us some advantages in the fact that they don't know exactly where all of us are, so which allows our geometries of fire, as long as we're tracking where everyone is, to kind of isolate their positions and then neutralize some of the enemy, which obviously we did plenty that day. Civilian casualties is always a concern of mine, as well as all the Marines on the deck. With those Afghans, we've been partnered with them a couple times. We fought alongside them, so we know how each other work, and they are in the lead. So they'll be pushing into those compounds first every single time, talk to the locals, and the locals are pretty scared once the rounds start flying, so they hunker down. They understand we're there for security, but between linguists and the Afghans themselves, it's no problem dealing with the locals and communicating our intent to them. The Marines were definitely feeling it, but again, kind of the preparations that go into it is the physical side as well. So they were well prepared. Take a break inside compounds, take that tactical pause, set the conditions, if you will, and move only when we have fires. The Marines made it a little bit easy for me, just their initiative, being able to act on their own accord, knowing the end state. I had to report up to higher, as well as push down my commands to my subordinates. So the 2 radio piece and just battle tracking on the map, so I know exactly where everyone is, so then we can have fires which ultimately support us. Overall, there was probably like a 3-hour chunk of time that we were under some pretty heavy fire, and then about 20 minutes, 30 minutes of that was real heavy fire. So we were taking medium machine gun fire, small arms fire, RPGs, grenade launchers, and again, those are some real accurate rounds. At the time, we seemed to be pinned down inside of a compound. During this season especially, it's a little bit muddier out as it gets colder going into the rainy season. So that also adds some difficulty to the Marines as we cross these fields, getting slowed down and bogged down in the mud. The Marines did their job 100%. The second we took contact, they immediately kicked in and reacted. You know, just to trust how good the Marines did that day, and their actions saved that Marine's life.
So we pushed into the first compound that was available for us to push into. Once we were there, we found out where the compound was that we needed to be, so we kept pushing more north. Went into the compound, talked to a couple of individuals. They gave us some good information. Then we started pushing across about 450 meters in open terrain. Once we crossed across there, we were about 200 meters in and started catching a good sporadic fire. It's a pretty big rush. It's pretty good to have. It calms you down at the same time. If you're used to it, it'll calm you down. It'll make everything go a little bit more smoother, because most people can operate better when they're under pressure. Our objective was mainly to go and try to get information, clear the compounds, get information from individuals, see if they could help us out through any intel throughout the village of insurgents. We caught contact. The security element, they would take most of the firepower off of us so we can continue the clear, but we were getting hit from all 3 different directions, so we had to continue and
help the security element out. Going to compound, my first step is to just make sure everyone gets to that next compound alive. Once we get over there, we support the ATF 444, let them do their clear piece. They do whatever they need to do to try to get any kind of intel, and then we get ready. We set in a support by fire while we're there, just in case we do catch contact. It's different. You don't really know what to expect when you go in there, if it could be booby-trapped or if there's IEDs everywhere or narcotics or anything. And if that would be the case, we'd call up our support element and they'd come in there and take care of it. It's a lot different because you've never really seen the terrain. We work off the terrain model, hopefully get as much knowledge as we can about the place before we land, and you don't really know if you're going to land in the right spot or not. So once you land, you're trying to get everything ready, trying to figure out where you're at, try to get the grids. Once you get the grids, find out where you're at, it's kind of simple, but with there being no Illume on that last mission, it was hard to see where you were going.
So we started our operation on the 29th of December. It was supposed to be a 4-day PB operation out to the east of Camp Leatherneck in an area that we previously identified as highly influenced by Taliban fighters. So the 29th, we conducted our vehicle movement out in that general area.
Knowing that we're being here at the late part of the war and understanding the intent of both the President of Afghanistan as well as the ISAF commanders and all commanders above, the understanding of we have to respect the Afghan way of life. And so part of that is having them us assimilating into their life. With that, our mission is to disrupt the enemy in the insurgents' way of life. And so that means that we got to go there, we got to make friends with the local populace. And so what we've done is we adapted by conducting a patrol-based operation, us going out there, which I don't think the insurgents have seen in a while, but we decided part of the planning was to live amongst them and have the insurgents disrupted by simply saying, hey, this is a different look.
We ended up starting to establish our patrol base, setting up some barricades, concertina wire out on the roads, just to limit vehicle traffic along the roads while we were going to be staying there over the 4 days. And when we started to actually construct some of our defensive barricades, we started to receive some enemy machine gun and sniper fire about 1,000 meters off to the east. So we were out there the following day, the 30th, receiving the same harassing fire we received on the 29th all day. We ended up linking up with 1st Platoon Alpha Section with Sergeant Early and Lieutenant Grissom, and we pushed a pretty large dismounted patrol off to the east just to kind of limit the enemy's firing capabilities onto the patrol base from the east. Heavily engaged the entire time we were pushing out towards them. Had to cross a pretty large field to continue all the way out to the east to get to the compounds they were actually firing at us from. And that's when I got on the radio with Lieutenant Grissom and had him roll his section in between us and the next compound that we had to get to so that we could safely bound towards the firing positions that the enemy were using. Once we got up to those compounds the enemies were using as firing positions, they just continued to bound all the way down to the south, trying to keep a 800-meter gap between their firing positions and our trucks. And we basically just pushed them out of the area so that they didn't engage the PB for the rest of the 30th.
All right, we set up a patrol base. It was right off Route 1, pushed about 4 clicks in south. Then we started taking fires yesterday. There's been a couple known target points that are all along this compound section, and then we pushed east, took fires bounding here. Finally we're here, and then now we're just holding here for two of our men went with the interpreter to talk to the people who have a suspected firing position up here.
As snipers and all the dismounts at the compound of interest were trying to mount back up into their vehicles so they could retrograde back to Camp Leatherneck, they ended up starting to receive high volumes of machine gun fire from approximately 1,000 meters off to the west, at which point most of my trucks were able to establish PID and return fire with their crew-served weapons to throwing smoke screens on the deck so that we could safely get people back in the vehicles. And once both sections were accounted for, we conducted our movement back up to Camp Leatherneck and returned to friendly lines.
Yeah, yesterday we went up to the northeast of our area of operations. There's a ALP post, Afghan local police. We go up there and conduct joint patrols with them. It gives locals confidence in their local police force, that they are actually able to defend and protect them against insurgents. So we went up there. We went to the ALP post. Stopped, sat down, and had some chai with them. Kind of discussed our plan, and then from there we went to a particular village and patrolled through that village. We stopped and talked to the village elder for a little while. Stopped and talked to some of the other individuals in that village as well. Just kind of asking them about the security level in that village, any security concerns, or any other types of concerns that they might have. For the local police, it kind of builds their rapport with the locals as well. When we came down from the police station, they were in the lead. They walked with us the whole patrol. They helped us interact with some of the locals in that village, and it's good for the local police to get out. It shows that they're doing their job, and that they have a vested interest in the security of the area as well.